It's an honor and a privilege to be here today, honoring President Kennedy. And President Kelly, like you, I remember where I was that date as well. I was coming back in a car with my coach from a basketball practice. I was in the 5th grade in Bristow, Indiana. I'm sure you know that town well. We had not a one-room school, but we had 6 rooms. So it's a small town in southern Indiana. Today we remember and honor President John Fitzgerald Kennedy as our 35th president, and on the 45th anniversary of his visit to Grand Forks. He was one of the million Americans immortalized in Tom Brokaw's book, The Greatest Generation. Like many, he returned home to build a better America. President Kennedy was involved in many famous events during his short term as president, from the Cuban Missile Crisis, that for those of us in the military, we realized just how close we were to nuclear war with Russia. As a result of that, we had a Washington-Moscow hotline installed so that the two political leaders could talk to one another quickly to try to resolve any issues that may have arisen. We had a nuclear test ban treaty. We had the Peace Corps that was formed to spread the opportunity for volunteerism throughout the nations of the world. And like President Kelly said, we pledged to put a man on the moon by the end of the decade, and of course, you know, we accomplished that. He also thought that we should spread American idealism to developing nations throughout the world. And I'd like to talk just a little bit about the nation of Ghana. Ghana is a small nation in West Africa. It happens to be the Partnership for Peace state for North Dakota. So we have a connection there, both through the military and through the civilian organizations. One, the University of North Dakota has a proposal to train pilots from the nation of Ghana. Ghana is unique in that it obtained its independence on March 6th of 1957, the very first nation in Africa to do so. So therefore it's recognized as Africa's independence. There in Ghana, Ghana is very similar to North Dakota in size. They have 23 million people, which may be a few more than North Dakota. But they have a lake with a dam similar to Garrison. And on that dam is a plaque with President Kennedy's name on it, thanking the United States of America and specifically President Kennedy for building that dam. So I had the opportunity to be there in March of 2006, and I was quite pleased to stand there, and the Ghanaians were proud to be associated with the United States. And if you've had the opportunity to travel around the world, that may not be the case in all areas. I'm in the Air National Guard, and I'd like to take a minute to tell you a little bit about how the Guard functions. Today, I'm a Title 32, and what that means is my Commander-in-Chief is the Governor of North Dakota. When I go in Title 10 status, I then become federalized, and my Commander-in-Chief is then the President. Well, back in the mid-60s, the Governor of Alabama stood before a group of people to basically prevent 2 young African Americans from entering a college there in Alabama. President Kennedy at that time federalized the Alabama Guard to prevent the governor from basically using the National Guard to prevent those 2 young African Americans from entering college. That was the start of the civil rights movement in the United States. And basically, that evening, President Kennedy read his famous civil rights address to the nation on national television and radio. That day was the catalyst for the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and today we're a better nation because of that. In closing, I'd like to leave you with a quote. President Kennedy stated, "Leadership and learning are indispensable to each other." President Kennedy knew the importance of education and stepping forward to lead. It's fitting that we remember these words on UND's 125th anniversary and the 45th anniversary of President Kennedy's visit. An eternal flame burns here today to let us remember and honor his visit here. We should remember that the light of freedom remains a reality not only through the courage of our citizens, but because of education, learning, and enlightenment offered by the university here and many universities across the United States. There's no doubt that John Kennedy, a man of peace, tested by war, would wholeheartedly approve. So thank you, and may God bless the United States of America.